What's up, brothers? Hope everyone's doing well out there. So, a lot of guys are asking the question, is it even possible for a woman to become attached to a man in the digital age, in the social media era, with the short attention spans and the unlimited amounts of options? And a lot of guys are coming to the conclusion that no, it's not possible. But I've got to be honest with you guys. And I make this video not with a big ego, but with a big heart. We'll put it like that. For every guy that says it's impossible to get a woman attached in this age, there's a couple that says they would have probably never went on their first date if it wasn't for social media. So this tells us that it's an operator issue. And I say this respectfully. Let me give you an analogy of what these guys sound like when they say this. When they use terminology like social media has ruined dating, or phrases like modern women. You know how they have the cell phones for the elderly people? The track phone, the jitterbug, consumer cellular. Well, when we made that step into the digital age, the data suggests that elderly people were struggling to make that transition, right? And the last time that they were able to function at a high level was when we were on the flip phone technology. When we switched over to the smartphones, they couldn't keep up. It was too much for them, right? So they started to market the 2005 technology to them so they can still participate. Well, if you're a guy out there, especially there's guys in my age group, we're talking guys ranging 20 years old to 50 years old. If you believe that social media has ruined dating and relationships, you're the equivalent to one of those elderly people. Because the truth is, the phones aren't going anywhere. They're getting cooler and cooler. We're getting more and more excited about buying new phones, new computers, new technology. We're not going backwards. So either you adapt and respond to what the current program is, or you get left behind. There is no other way. We're not going back to the Stone Age. We're not going back to the Bronze Age. We're not going back to the Iron Age. We're not going back to the Classical Age. We're in the digital age. Imagine if somebody from the Iron Age said, man, if we could just go back to the Stone Age, dating was so much more simple back then. We're not going back. You just have to adapt and respond. I know a lot of guys don't want to hear that. They'd rather just say, well, it's over. Okay. If that's what you want to believe, then go for it. But for me and everyone I know, it's gotten a lot easier. So what I want to talk about in this video is how to get a woman attached in the social media age. And I want to make this video because a lot of times when I talk to guys, there's two things that I hear them say, and two beliefs that they have. They think they have to operate a certain way in social media to get a woman's attention and to get her attached. But in my opinion, these are the two biggest mistakes you could ever make. And number one, they say that you should only use your phone to set up dates. So basically they're treating women like doctor's appointments. Like, I'll see you at 8 o'clock on a Friday night. Okay, it's on. All right, I'll see you 5 days from now. Of course she's going to ghost. In that 5 days that you left her waiting, some other guy was communicating with her. Some other guy was making her feel a certain way. You thought, well, I've got her locked in. No, that's not how it works. Guys that tell you to do that, they're telling you to be stiff. and to be, you know, just weird, right? That's not how you act around people. Anybody that's telling you that, I mean, I say this respectfully, they're giving you terrible advice. And also, the second mistake guys make on social media is they use it to show off. You know, they think they have to load up their Instagram with really cool pictures, you know, showing off their lifestyle. You know, they think they have to go on dating apps with professional photos. You're going to look fake. Women are going to look at those pictures. I'm talking decent women that are actually good for relationships are going to look at your shit and be like, this guy just seems so try-hard, so fake. Women like chill dudes. They like authentic dudes. Women like men that they can relax around and be themselves around. You know, just be their goofy, silly self around without being embarrassed. Women are chill people. They're very chill and they're very, they're just goofy. You know, women have a natural goofiness about them when you get to know them. And they like to be able to unleash that. So here's how you want to use social media to get a woman attached. Instead of sending her messages like trying to flirt or be seductive, you know, instead of playing hot and cold games, check this out. This is something I stumbled upon, and it'll have them, you know, she might be sending one-word text messages to me, and after I make this one little switch, she's sending paragraphs and voice notes and pictures and videos and asking me if I want to come over for dinner, or asking me if I can meet her at the bar to give her a kiss, or asking if she can come over to my place. Now keep in mind, I'm 39. So if you're a 21-year-old, she may not step her game up this much. You know, it may be strictly sexual. It may be meeting her for a kiss or her coming over to your place. But in my age group, they'll say things like they want to cook for me. You know, things like that. They really step their game up. And check it out. This is all I do. I could be at the beach, at the park, out taking a hike, at the mall, at the store, at the gym, at home. I could be anywhere. And all I do is make a little 10-minute movie. You know, I'll give you an example of how simple and how easy this is. The other day I was at Lowe's, you know, the hardware store. And you know how they have the like the seasonal decor? Right now we've got Halloween coming up soon. Next it'll be Christmas, and then, I don't know, Easter, 4th of July, whatever. Well, they have the seasonal decor up. And I was there I had to pick up a few things, but, you know, I saw the Halloween decor and I was thinking about buying a couple of things. You know, here in the United States, here in Oklahoma, people will, you know, they'll kind of deck their houses out and their front lawns out on Halloween. You know, they have a bunch of decor on their front porch and stuff. So I saw some decor that I was thinking about buying. So I just start making like a few little 10-minute or 10-second videos of the different decor that I was thinking about buying, and I send it to her. And instantly, she just starts like rapid fire, sending all kinds of messages back. And it's like she's suddenly extremely horny, extremely excited, extremely emotional. And I've just wondered to myself, how come when I do this, and this is something I've done for a while, it's not a strategy, yet I'm not strategically trying to get any woman to like me, I'm just like being myself, right? But why is it whenever I record little videos and show them what I'm currently looking at so they can see what I'm seeing, why is it that that women have this reaction? You know, why does it get them excited? And realistically, what I'm doing is I'm making her feel like she's with me, even when she's not. I'm including her. So, and I use the example of being at Lowe's with the Halloween decor because that makes her feel like almost like the two of us are shopping, like we're some sort of a family. Like she starts calling herself mama and me daddy, right? Like we're participating in this act together and being a family. I don't know, that's something that just gets women extremely excited that I've noticed. And it's not something that I've strategically done, it's just something normal. They're seeing a glimpse of what my daily routine is like. That's it. I say they, I should say she, but it gets her excited. I think what a lot of guys are doing is they're using social media in a try-hard kind of way. They think that they have to use it to impress women. They think they have to compete with other guys. They have all these thoughts in their head, but they're not using it for what it's actually for, which is bringing people with you when they're not with you, allowing them to stay by your side when they're not with you. And when you communicate this way with a woman, it has a certain effect on her. Like, you have to understand that. I can't think of a time when I've ever actually used a strategy, when I've strategically tried to get a woman to like me and it's actually worked. But damn near every time, I just relax and am myself and just talk to her. Nothing sexual, nothing flirtatious. I just talk, and when she talks, I listen and look her in her eyes, and that's how we communicate. Damn near every time they say things like, "Oh my God, I've never had anyone make me feel this way before." And it's so strange because I'm not even doing anything. Like, I'm literally just relaxing and being myself. And you see them make this switch from, being this hot girl that's intimidating to like, boom, cover's been blown. She's this goofy chick that is now, comfortable. You know how people act a certain way in their own house, but in public they would never act that way because, they might be embarrassed. They think they shouldn't act that way in public. Well, that's how women are. They have an outer shell all the time. And a lot of guys are intimidated by that outer shell. But once she becomes emotionally connected to a man, that outer shell disappears, and you see what she's like behind closed doors. And you'll never see her the same. It's like, okay, this is a whole different person. But now it's sort of my responsibility to understand that I'm like really in complete control of her emotional state now. A woman's body chemistry dictates a lot about her. When a woman is with a man that she feels safe around, that she feels emotionally connected to, her chances of getting pregnant go up a lot. How sexually aroused she is goes up a lot. Her quality of life and mental health increases. So women are always seeking that connection. They're always seeking that type of attachment. And women that don't have that, the most honest women that I'll hear, I'll hear some women say, "I don't need no man." But when I look at a happy, healthy woman, like a woman in her 30s or so, that can just honestly say that she needs a man. She can't live without her husband. Matter of fact, if he were to have an accident and pass away, she would probably have a stroke and not even make it. But when I hear those type of women, they seem to be the happiest women out there. And as a man, you have to understand that it takes someone like you to bring that out of her, to make her feel that way. You can buy into all the doom and the gloom. or you can adapt and respond. Do it the proper way. And you know, I give you this nugget because you have to understand how easy it is, how simple it is. Make a woman feel included. Don't even, and it's crazy because you don't even have to, like, you don't have to be nervous. You don't have to think of the right thing to say. You could be at the park and there's a flock of ducks. Take a little video of them. And look, it can act as a litmus test as well. If your relationship with her is strictly transactional or validational, she might not respond. A lot of guys are afraid of boring a woman. Look, never be afraid of boring a woman. If a woman's bored of you, your relationship is transactional, which means there's no meaningful difference between her and a hooker. And I mean that, I'm dead serious. If a woman gets bored of you, there's no meaningful difference between her and a hooker. Now, imagine you were to get with a hooker or an escort. We'll use the friendly word for this. An escort wants your money, so the only reason an escort wants to communicate with you is to get money from you. So you might say like, hey, I'd like to spend some time with you. She's like, okay, that'll be $500. And you say, okay, what time, meet me where? Right, and that's the only communication that that woman would want. And even after you do the deed with her, if you were to message her and be like, hey, how are you? She'd be like, how am I? Do you want to see me or not? $500. You know, and to me, that would be so, I mean, that's dehumanizing. For me, like, for somebody to communicate with me that way, I would just be like, God, get lost. You know, but a lot of guys, that's how they communicate with normal women. Because a lot of guys don't know the masculine power that they have over women and what they can do to a woman. How they can make her feel, how attached she can become. Keep it all the way real, I don't think a lot of guys want that responsibility. Oh yeah, there's one major point that I wanted to make here. And I know the people that disagree with this video aren't even watching it anymore. But I do this on purpose. I try to keep like the main point at the very end of the video, and it's kind of like a reward for the people that watch it all the way through. But guys have this idea in their head that because women have so many options, that it's going to be impossible for you to keep their attention. But here's what you have to understand. If a woman has a lot of options, or if she's entertaining a lot of men, you know, maybe she has 10 men that she's texting with on a regular basis. Might sound like a lot. What that actually means is that none of them are what she's looking for. None of them have actually made that connection. Because when a guy comes along and does make that connection, she's going to stop talking to the rest of them. You know, that's a fact. Women aren't built to have 2 or 3 boyfriends, 2 or 3 husbands. You know, they're built to pedestalize one man. And that's it. Women would rather share a man that they genuinely love and genuinely enjoy being with than to have 2 or 3 guys. You know, that's not what they want. That's not what they're looking for. So when you see a woman that's talking to just one man, that's the woman that you should feel like, okay, yeah, I don't have much of a chance with her because she's already got somebody. But if she's talking to a bunch of men, you can say, okay, none of these guys are on par with what she's looking for. Speaking of jitterbugs. Anyways, you know, that's when you can step up and literally as soon as you get her number, as soon as you get her social media, take her on a journey with you. Whatever it is you're doing. You're at the gym, take a little 10-second video of yourself so she can see a glimpse into your life. You know how women listen to music versus how men listen to music. I don't know, I just thought of this, but I want to use this as an example so you can understand female psychology a little bit. So here's how men listen to music. We listen to, like 99% of the music that men listen to are male artists. You know, and it's hardcore masculine content. Whether it's hard rock, rap music, even country music. The country music that men would want to listen to would be about like hunting and fishing and drinking beer and pickup trucks. But we listen to male artists that make motivational music about masculine ideas. You know, and different masculine activities. Gets us pumped up and motivated. But I'd say a good 80% of the music that women listen to is also by male artists, but they listen to male artists singing to women, singing love songs to women. You know, so they like to feel like the artist is taking them on a journey and speaking to them directly and making them feel included. So they listen to the music and momentarily they feel like they're part of it. You know, like they're being spoken to. So that's kind of how female psychology works. Like what gets them going, what strikes chords within them. So you can do that on social media just by showing her what you're doing and her watching and feeling like she's with you. You know, a couple times I've played this little trick where I'll send something to a woman and she doesn't know I'm about to be walking up on her. You know, as I send it, I'm pretty close by. So I send it and I actually watch her open it. And I see her face sitting there looking at the phone with a big smile, happy looking at her phone. Authentic. Truly smiling, truly happy looking at her phone. You know, and that's not something you can get by strategically using pickup lines. You know, it's not something you can get by showing off your money and status. It's only something you can get by making a woman feel like she's with you when she's not with you. You know, and that's what social media is used for. If you use it for that, you're going to get great results. If you don't, I'd say you're probably going to get left behind. Alright guys, suppose I won't go on any further, but I hope this video was somewhat informative. And that's about it for today guys. Until next time, see ya.